Hey, folks, welcome back to the Rockford Ordinance. We are back after a long hiatus. I have to say, well, I'm going to give a few people a chance to jump in here. But in the meantime, Tori Hanzo's in here. Man, it's good to see you. You've been making it in early on the last few I've done, not that any of have been lately. And Ross is in here. Awesome. You are the man I wanted to speak to specifically. We'll give it a couple more seconds here, but Ross has been a long time listener, viewer, and we get together at the 2A EDU shoot every year. We got to get together more often. And Hattori Hanzo has made the trip over to the former Yugoslavia and has gotten pretty darn close to the Zastava plant over there. So he was over there bringing us back some secret intel, But we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about the recent release of the long-awaited Zastava underfolder M70. Was my first AK, although it was century built. Not a bad thing. Those early underfolder M70s, AB2s were fabulous guns. It was my first AK, and it was bought for me by my wife one Valentine's Day. And I'm sure she fully regrets that purchase and what it's turned into. But I certainly appreciate it because I absolutely love that rifle. And hey, Zastava, you can now get one right from the factory. So your ZPAP is now available in an underfolder, which I'm sure if you are an AK fan here, you already know that. And me being so far behind in these live streams, missed the release we were all waiting for. Has anyone got one in their hands yet? I'd like to see. Ross already picked up my ZPAP underfolder last Tuesday. Have you shot it yet? Gotta be nice. The only thing, I had a mind's eye picture of what it was going to look like when it was finally released. And I know what they look like, right? But I stare at mine so much all the time. And Century built them from military kits. So mine has the grenade launcher, with the grenade sight and everything. And I kind of had that in my head. But of course, the ones Zastava released don't have that. Now, that's not to say you couldn't get your hands on one of those gas blocks and simply replace it. It's not simple. It's not like bolting together an AR or something. But if you have the tools and the press and all that, you could certainly drill out the pin in that gas block and replace it with the military style. And man, look awfully cool. Set of flip up night sights, and you are in biz. Put on the factory, or I don't know if you say wartime, but the military grip and a new old stock military sling, and it would look just like my M70 except brand new, which would be very cool. I don't know if it's in the cards right now, but I've been waiting for this thing for so long. I'm going to have to figure something out here. And, of course, bring you guys a review. So I want to, apologize to you all for such a long hiatus. I think, I bet Ross could tell me, but it's been at least 6 weeks. That's like a month and a half. Now, we've been doing these live streams, oh, God, it's got to be 2 or 3 years now. And we were going along pretty steady. Once in a while, I'd miss one, family reasons or something like that, holiday. But really never missed one. And then life just catches up. As you know, we've got the homestead project going on here, and that's kind of what my focus has been on, as well as deer season, and then the holidays rolled in there, and everything else. So it's easy to get sidetracked. And we're going to go into some of that. We're going to tell you the progress on the homestead and tell you, last I think I talked to you guys, told you about the buck we shot archery season. and that went missing. And we're going to tell you how that all came to fruition and unfolded. Pretty neat story. And then first we're going to go through some news, though, because, you know, there's so much Second Amendment news that comes out. If you're someone like Guns and Gadgets or 2AEDU, you know, they base their entire channels on it. And every day, whether it's federally, locally, state, county, in 50 states in this entire country, there is so much anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment news coming out every day that it's mind-numbing to try and keep track of it all. But there are certain stories that the news cycle, and some of them hit home, and some of them are extremely concerning and should certainly concern you. I speak a lot about Second Amendment and what my opinions on it and whatnot. And this one really hit home because, well, it hits home with all of us, and let's talk about it. So I've got a few notes here because it's a bit involved, and I'm not going to read you the letter or anything, but we'll go through the details of it, not just the gist of it, but the details. And, you know, get ready, boys and girls, because here it comes, another one down the pipe, right? Forget about the pew-pews right now. You forget about the guns. They're coming after your ammo. I mean, if they can't take the guns, what's next, right? Try to take the mags, you know. I find it amazing that they will read into the Second Amendment. They will read into Supreme Court decisions and say that a magazine is not covered under the term firearm. Well, a magazine-fed firearm will not fire and is therefore not a firearm without its magazine. But they will twist, spin, use their word salad to try and take your rights away. And they've done that with ammo. You know, they'll try and say ammo are not arms. Well, you know, I wish they would just open good old Webster's or go online, although that's probably been changed, who knows, and just look up the word arms. Arms are, it's a broad term, right? It covers everything from bearable arms, wearable arms, munitions, everything. Arms. That could be a tank. It could be a battleship. It could be a rifle. It could be a bullet, but arms. And they will twist it and try to pull these little things out from under the coverage of the Second Amendment. If they can't beat you one way, they'll try and beat you another. And that's what they're doing. And I'm going to have one question for you when this is all done. So, yeah, they're coming after your ammo, and not any ammo, but the most popular ammo in the country. More rounds of this are sold, bought, shot than any other round in the country. Why? Because America's favorite rifle, while it's chambered in many chamberings, but its original and still most popular is 223/556. And that's what they want to take away. How are they going to do it, you ask? Well, I'm still not sure where it all comes from. That's my big question. You've got that lady, what's her name? Letitia. Where did I put it? I had her name here somewhere. I think it's Letitia James, if I'm correct. She's the one that is suing the NRA. She penned a letter. Not only penned a letter, but she got a bunch of attorney generals from 20 different states to join in. So the attorney general is the head law enforcement officer in your state. Every state has one, so essentially 50 of them, right? Well, 20 attorneys general signed onto this letter, which she penned. And who did they send it to? Well, of course, the newly created Office of gun violence prevention that good old Uncle Joe started. You remember that, right? Yeah, that's his big accomplishment, the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. And I find it so disturbing that our tax dollars pay for that. We fund through our taxes the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. And while it's fairly new, this was an edict he put out not that long ago, but he came up with this. We're going to start another bureaucratic organization to end not violence, but gun violence. Why wouldn't it just be, the Office of Violence Prevention? The guns aren't doing the violence. The people behind the guns are. But in any case, it's paid for by you and me. Isn't that wonderful? That's where our tax dollars go. So 20 attorneys general signed on to this. And you might ask yourself, well, who are these attorneys, right? I'm going to read them to you. There's 20 of them. And if your state is listed here, I suggest you get on the phone to your attorney general tomorrow morning. Emails are great, but phone calls work fabulously. Google it. You'll get the number. You'll probably get a helper, an assistant, something like that. But always remember that when they get enough calls, for sure they mention it. With the brace thing and all of that, when those calls overflowed, you can be sure that they mentioned to whoever it was, the congressman they work for, the senator, etc., that they mention it to them. Or somebody on their staff will say, hey, we've really got a lot of pushback on this thing. I bet you'd be shocked at how few calls come in. I mean, I'm sure you've got those people that's all they live to do, and they're on a first name basis with these assistants and everything, but your call does matter. Write a letter, call. The other thing is, this came out about 3 days ago, so not a lot of people know about it. And this letter is asking for a few things. It's asking for them to investigate and a few other things. It's not, while it's calling for these bullets not to fall into our hands, let me get into it a little bit, because some of the phraseology they used here is funny. But let's list these states. So, of course, you've got your usual people in here: New York, Arizona. And some of these Western states shock me because they've got all that great Western heritage, right? Arizona, of all states, falls to the Democrats, right? But New York, Arizona, California, of course, Connecticut. Connecticut used to be the hub of firearm manufacturing in this country. That's where such names as Winchester were located. All the big ones, all of them were in Connecticut. It's amazing. And now, nothing. Delaware, the District of Columbia, that's not really a state. Hawaii, of course. Oh, cannot forget the other side of the Cheddar Curtain here, Illinois. Of course, little Dickie Durbin's probably involved in that one. Maine. Maine probably has hunting traditions as strong as Wisconsin or Michigan. I find it unbelievable, although it's East Coast. Maryland, Massachusetts. Did a revolution start over yonder about that area? Michigan, like you guys don't have enough on your plate already with your red flag laws and everything else. Some went into effect, the 1st, and others are just now going into effect, because once your state legislature passes a bill, it's 90 days, I think. So you guys have some coming in right now. Minnesota, of course, that's been overrun. The Twin Cities look like a Middle Eastern city now. Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, all these Western states. Oregon, what a waste of a state, huh? Rhode Island, Vermont, and in the W column, not win, but W column, Washington. Whew. Thank God Wisconsin didn't sign on. Although our attorney general is a Democrat Soros appointed piece of garbage. So he's won 2 terms now. How that's happened, I don't know, but we need to get him out of there as well. So those are the 20. So if you're in one of those states and listening, please make sure you send an email, make a phone call, make your position known, that in no way, shape, or form should what's talked about in this letter happen. So what are they talking about in this letter? Well, they're talking about 5.56 ammunition and what they term as military grade ammunition. What they're concerned about is 5.56, and specifically 5.56 ammo that in their terms is manufactured for the military grade, and manufactured by the Lake City Army Ammunition Plant. If you have an AR or any common NATO caliber rifle, you've shot Lake City ammo before. The head stamp is LC. It's cheap. It's great ammo. Is it military grade? Well, you know, green tip and 193, those are military rounds. But when you say military, all that means is the military came up with a concoction in that projectile and or cartridge that worked best. They did all their testing and they said, okay, 68 grain bullet or 63 grain bullet or 55 grain bullet, depending what you're talking about, works best with X amount of powder and this power of primer, right? I think the military 223 primer is a CCI number, is it 41, guys? Any of you that reload? And essentially, for you, maybe some of you reloaders that didn't know this, but those CCI 41s are basically the equivalent of a small rifle magnum primer, is all they are. So when you can't get small rifle primers and you're reloading 223, buy small rifle primers. It's basically what they are. Very similar. You'll be fine. But those military ones work. They all work great, but they're a little harder. Anyhow, the Army comes up with specifications. We want X amount of this powder. We want this primer. We want this weight bullet and this design bullet. Build it for us. It's nothing special. Green tip is a penetrator bullet. It is not a armor piercing bullet. It does have a steel core or penetrator tip, right? What does it do? Well, it'll go through maybe a car door a little better, so stuff like that. As a matter of fact, if these people knew anything, if they had any clue about ballistics, bullet performance, penetrations, all of that, they'd be like, oh, wait a second. We want the general public shooting this stuff. Why? Talk to anyone that fought in Iraq or Afghanistan and ask them how those green tips worked. There is video after video after video. Sean Ryan talks about it all the time. The ex-Navy SEAL's got a channel, and he interviews all special forces guys on there, and they all talk about hitting an enemy combatant 4, 5, 6 times, and the guy running off hundreds of yards or not even knowing he was hit, because they don't expand. What takes down a deer or any other target is taking the energy that is stored in that bullet and releasing it into the target it hits. Those green tips are so fast, penetrator tip, they go right through, in and out, zip, 3,100 feet per second. They don't expand. They don't do anything. They zoom, gone. That's why they went to other rounds for special forces and CQB. Yeah, they're great at penetrating barriers, but as far as a hunting round, no matter if it's 2-legged or 4-legged you're hunting, they don't do well. It's common knowledge that you better put 4, 5, 6 into somebody, or it's not doing much. That's not to say, get hit in the head or something like that, but a body hit somewhere, you are much better off, way, way, way better off with a hollow point or soft lead tip bullet as compared to a full metal jacket bullet or a green tip bullet. Hence why the Geneva Convention, the rules of warfare in the Geneva Convention state that armies can only use full metal jacket ammo. Why? Because soft tip hunting bullets, all hunting bullets are either hollow point or soft tip, so they expand. They didn't want those used because they cause horrific damage. Horrific. That's why you always hear, entrance wound that big, exit wound that big. That's due to a hollow point. Their military grade ammo does the least damage, the absolute least damage. So they know nothing of what they speak, zero. But yet, because it's coming from the Lake City plant, they want to ban it. They don't want, well, here, I've got a couple quotes here, and we'll go through them here. But they state that billions of rounds, and it's probably true, billions of rounds have been sold on the commercial market. And in the letter, they want President Biden's organization to take a look at the contracting process and how, in their terms, this is great, if I can find it. Bear with me. My notes are sort of cryptic. Where is it? They want to know how the diversion of military ammo happened to the civilian market. How did that happen? How did those military rounds get in civilian hands? Now, I've just talked a lot about bullet design and how it's used for hunting and how non-military rounds are actually better rounds. Well, it has nothing to do with deer hunting. That's what they're not understanding. That statement right there. We want to know how this military ammo was diverted and got into civilian hands. Why would you expect any different? They don't understand. And we as the gun community, as YouTubers, we constantly talk about it. Well, for self-protection. Yes, in a way, self-protection. But, hold on, one of these ads is going to pop up and I'm going to try to get rid of it. It's not about self-protection. It's not about hunting. It's about putting down a tyrannical government that has overstepped its bounds. It is about civilians having military equipment. Matter of fact, the Second Amendment was written, and there's documents upon documents talking about the conversations that were had when adopting this amendment, right? It had nothing to do with hunting, nothing about shooting for sport or self-protection of your home, nothing like that. It had everything to do with overpowering the military force of a government that had become tyrannical. As a matter of fact, back in the day, that's the majority of civilians had better, more accurate firearms than our standing armies did. Always did. And every military weapon, every time they upgraded it, it came from the civilian market. They want to say AR-15 is the most popular rifle in this country, by far, by a long shot. And there are tens, if not hundreds of millions of these rifles out there. And they say, well, that's not used for hunting. Yes, it is. I hunted with it this year. I hunted deer this year with an AK-47. perfect deer round. 7.62 by 39 has very similar, not the same, similar ballistics to a 30-30, America's most popular deer rifle. People hunt coyotes all day, every day with AR platforms. It's just a new version of the rifle. It doesn't have a wood stock. All this surplus. Right now, you can go to an organization of the government that's funded by the government, and they will sell you a military weapon. You can go buy a World War II M1 Garand through the Civilian Marksmanship Program. And who runs and sponsors that? The United States government. That's a weapon of war. But they don't go after it because it's not black and scary. It's still wood. Well, put an aftermarket polymer stock on it. Now it's black. Would they be scared of that? They don't understand. And it's not about them understanding. They do understand. They understand one thing. They want you disarmed. Look at what's going on in this world. I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to tell you anything. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to make money. Certainly not making money. I'm not selling you a course or a product or anything. I do this because I enjoy it. So when I give you my opinion, it's just that, my opinion. But use your common sense when it comes to our southern border. Do yourself a favor one night. Pick a news channel. I don't care which one. Don't care. Put it up on the screen and turn the volume down and watch. And instead of listening to the blather going on in the background, ask yourself one thing. What's going on here? All these people crossing the border. Military age. All of them. If there is a woman, a child, they will go out of their way to zoom in on the one or two. Let me ask you something. All of us, for the most part, unless you're very young, either our parents or grandparents came to this country, right? The majority of us legally, through the process, right? And how did they come here? You had a married man, married woman, a couple babies maybe. Did the guy just come over by himself and say, I'll see you in a while, I'll be back? No. If you're looking to emigrate to a country, to make a new life for yourself, you're being politically harassed, your life's in danger, whatever. Are you leaving your wife and kid behind? What's going to happen to them? Most of these countries, we all know what's going to happen to them. No. If you're emigrating to a country for a new lifestyle to make your life, your family's life better, you come with your family. Guys, these are colonizers. I'm not going to say that all of them are here to do bad. No, not by any stretch. I'm sure there's some very good people in there. But when the sheer numbers just show this male population, what are they here for? Are they here for harvesting in California? You know, I knew plenty of guys that came here from Mexico to work, get a job, and send money home and eventually go back home. But they're here for colonizing. They're here to reap the benefits of this country and then go home. They want to go home. They have a home. I'm sure they love their home. They love their country, right? It's not just coming over the border from Mexico. They're coming from all over the world. Some not even on this continent. To move from South America through all these countries and through Mexico and come up, I don't care if you're walking. It takes money. You need to feed yourself, clothe yourself. I assume a several thousand-mile little jaunt through the jungle, you probably wear out a pair of shoes or two, huh? They're being paid. I watched a magnificent video. If you search it, I'm sure you can find it. I don't remember the name of the channel. But these two guys duplicated the trip. They went down to South America, Started, I think, in Colombia or Bolivia, one of the two, and pretended one was Russian and one was English, I think. And they got in with these people and they worked their way north, and they told the story of how these different groups moved them through these countries, and they were actually deported out of one country and came back and then kept going. But the trip itself, they showed it in detail. It's horrific. It really is. You're either motivated to do this trip, you're either motivated by money, or someone's paying you a lot, or you're under orders to do it. It's unreal. People dying along the way. They've destroyed rainforest. Where are all the rainforest people? You should see the garbage and stuff just left in piles in the most beautiful, picturesque rainforest river you've ever seen in your life. And it's nothing but fields of human feces, everything imaginable, plastic bags, duffel bags, clothes, shoes, bodies, you name it, like an army walked through there and left everything in their path because they couldn't carry it anymore. I mean, it's unreal. Search the video and see if you can find it. Watch it. You'll be shocked. Either way, it costs a lot of money to get here and then to pay them to get over the border and all the other stuff. And they're coming in like crazy. 10,000 a day. Was it 800,000 in December? Something like that. Crazy number. Doesn't matter what number I put up there. They're ridiculous numbers. They're populations of large cities coming in a month. And then little Dickie Durbin, Illinois senator, just a weasel. You look at him and you go, weasel. What is he raised in Congress? How are we going to handle this? Because they don't want them in their cities now. Now all of a sudden these sanctuary cities, well, wait, hold on, this is costing us too much money. How are we going to take care of them? What are we going to do? How are we going to pay for this? He has a great idea. And this isn't a random idea popped in little Dickie's head. I promise you that. They're going to serve in our army. And if they prove to be good, loyal citizens, we'll give them citizenship. Think about that. That is the most ignorant, unbelievably stupid. We can't vet these people at the border. We don't know who they are. Last count I heard, 143 people on the terrorist list caught at the border. Think they missed a few? What do you think? Double it? Triple it? 10 times that on the terrorist watch list? I'm talking about ones that probably got through unnoticed. If they caught 143, pretty sure most of them are probably smarter, didn't just go turn themselves in when they knew they were on the list. But if they got 143, you can't vet the rest. They don't have papers. These countries don't give them papers. They have nothing. You have no idea who they are, where they're from, other than what they're telling you. And of course, they're all telling us the truth. It's Chinese nationals by the tens of thousands coming in, guys. You would think when they come in that they would mass them in larger metropolitan areas, right? Because you have more infrastructure. Frankly, let's face it, you need a bed for every head. You need to feed stomachs. You need to house them, clothe them, find them jobs, do whatever you're going to do in this, before they go back for their court date, of course. They're going to, let's see, they got bused or airplaned up to Chicago or New York or Montana or wherever, and they're going to do the little trek from Montana back down for their court date, right? A lot of you know and have known that I got out of Illinois for good, moved to Wisconsin, of which I've been a resident for years and years and years, just in another town. But I had a residency in Illinois as well. And I got out. Why? Because of these types of politics. Illinois is run by Chicago, and it's unfortunate that the whole state of Illinois gets lumped in. It's like California. A lot of you guys that aren't from California will say, well, they deserve it. They live behind enemy lines. They want to live in that communist state. Let them. Good for them. They can get out if they want. Guys, it's not that easy. You have jobs, you have family, you have responsibilities to family, older members, kids in school, that. You can't just pick up and run. I am extremely fortunate to be able to do what I did. I wanted to for years and years, but you got kids in school. And frankly, we didn't live in Chicago. We lived nowhere near Chicago. We lived in a great little farm town. Fabulous. I would still be living there if I could pick it up and drop it 30 feet over the border. Great schools, great people, great neighbors, great, gorgeous area, best place to raise kids. But I couldn't get out because these kids were in school, we had jobs, all of this. I'm fortunate enough that my wife works from home and my job allows me to, and fortunate enough, frankly, to be able to sell our house in a market that was starting to teeter, and fortunate enough to have a little extra funds that we could do it. And fortunate enough that my wife said yes, because she would much rather be somewhere warm. I'm fine with the Great White North. No problem. Matter of fact, if you look out my window right now, holy cow. We are living in our motor home while our home is being built. We sold the other one. We're on the property. We've got a foundation. I'm going to go through all that and catch you up to date on that project. But outside the window, I told the family member last night that from the outside, there's our motor home, our cars are kind of abandoned sideways, a little storage thing and a tank and all this other stuff. We look like one of those Arctic stations up on the North Pole. That's what it looks like right now, especially with the drifting snow. We got almost 2 feet of snow in the last few days, and it's blowing through a monstrous field straight out of the north. If I went outside with this camera and microphone, you guys would laugh your ass off right now. You'd be like, oh, he looks so warm and cozy in there. Fuzzy little throwback camouflage. And, if I open that door, it'd be like, whoosh, the dogs would go running. It's unbelievable. Though you can't tell, but the motorhome's doing this right now from the wind. Anyhow, yeah, Illinois, Little Dicky, Durbin. Anyhow, they're busting them all to these sanctuary cities, and they don't want them anymore. They're overrun. It all sounds good until it's put into action and you're witnessing it, and your constituents start to complain. So I moved to Wisconsin, and I'm like, first of all, January 1st, when all these Illinois gun laws came into effect, I still work with a lot of guys from Illinois, friends of mine who are big time into guns. And they have a lot of these weapons that are on these lists that are now a felony as of January 1st. And I wouldn't have wanted to be them on December 31st deciding, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Am I going to register them all? Am I going to give the Gestapo all my serial numbers and tell them what I have and where it is? And then I can't do anything when I die, I got to register all my magazines. Are you kidding me? And then pay for them all? Do you know how much time that would take? Anybody with a decent size gun collection. I'm not talking a crazy gun collection, decent gun collection. And that's what I consider mine. I don't consider it large or crazy or anything, because I know people, lots and lots of people, that blow mine away. But it would take me months just to do the paperwork. And then the fees, I couldn't afford it all. I literally couldn't. But that's what they want. But we talk about, so anyways, I moved in Wisconsin now. I'm like, yay, safe. I can have what I want, do what I want. Nobody can bother me. And then the local news pops up the other night. They dropped off, literally bussed in and dropped off. I live rural, extremely rural. My driveway takes a long time to get out to the road, right? And then it's a nothing road leading to nowhere. We are rural. I can't tell you how rural. They sent a bunch of buses up in the middle of the night, and in Whitewater, Wisconsin, not all that far from here, they dropped 1,000 of them. Whitewater. This isn't a metropolitan area. There's no hotels can hold 1,000 people there, or school gymnasiums. This is a small town, Wisconsin town. 1,000 of them. Less than probably 20 miles from me. I just wander off into the cornfields. Not now. I wonder what they're doing now in this weather. It's death-defying out there right now. I really feel accomplished. Literally, like, yeah, I'm the man. My survival skills. I'm living in a motorhome in the North Pole right now. That's how I feel. Not kidding you. I'm switching propane tanks and making them last and insulating, and I got heaters going in water compartments, and I'm pumping water out of tanks into the other one and hauling sewage out and craziness, making sure I got enough food if I can't get out, and getting neighbors to bring straw bales to insulate the motorhome around them. It's crazy, guys, and they just drop 1,000 of them. You think they got some good, decent winter clothes? Maybe got that orange Wisconsin issue jumpsuit, the hunting orange deer hunting gear. You think they got all those nice warm clothes? It's going to be minus 11 Sunday. Minus 13 on Monday. The high is going to be minus 2 or maybe 0. We'll get up to 0. That'll be a good day. Be a good day. I'm sure they're ready for it. Got their Nanook of the North boots and everything. It follows me. My point is, guys, there's nowhere else to run. Where are you going to run? When it's at your front door, when it's your whole country. Where are you going to run? We're the last of it. Talk to somebody from Canada, France, Germany, anywhere. Get some real news. Notice you don't see any reporting from other countries anymore. You don't see, you used to see nightly news, this in France, this in England, this in Germany. Look what's happening in Switzerland today. You see nothing. You know why? The protests are monstrous. You should see the farming protests going on in Germany right now. There's a food crisis over there. Literally a food crisis. Talking about people starving. And the people that are showing up at these protests, you think the stuff here or Canada look big? It's nothing. That's a pimple on a gnat's ass. You should see. There are tractors and lights on tractors as far as the eye can see, all converging on capital city. Good for them. Good for them. France, same thing. They're done. Netherlands, you should see. Well, they fought that. They were the first ones. They actually threw the government out. They're forming a new government as we speak. They elected a new president. They were done with it. Klaus Schwab and all his henchmen, they're pushing this agenda. I'm not here to convince you guys. I'm not here to hope you believe me. I'm here to tell you to do your own. Look at it. Look, it's everywhere. From viable sources. This ain't some conspiracy theory. It ain't nothing. What's happening there is coming here way faster than you think. It's happening right now. You have an occupying force crossing the border every day, building their ranks. Got lots of my son's friends that right out of high school, like many small farming towns across America, where good people live and celebrate the 4th of July and go to a parade and have a barbecue. So many of those small towns with, frankly, they may be a little naive, heroic young men that sign up to do the same thing their grandfathers did and their fathers did. and they're going to go represent their country in the armed forces. My son did the reserve, or not, the National Guard. His best friend is serving right now as a Marine. He's getting out finally because I don't want to speak for him, but he's been a little disenfranchised, I think, with what he sees. And these are kids that wanted to serve. Lots of them, more friends of my son. They all went off after high school, go do the military thing. And it's a shame. It's an absolute shame what's going on here. We are just, we have no sovereignty anymore. This is not a sovereign nation with an open border like that. And we're allowing it to happen. Your occupying force is coming in. They're not, it's a term I'm looking for. They're not immigrants. They're colonizers. They're conquerors. Years than this. The Roman Empire. Matter of fact, we're lucky to have made it this long. And you let it happen under your nose because the populace has become too comfortable. Today we shut off a switch and nobody knows what to do. Shut off for more than 9 meals, 3 days, and there'll be anarchy. You are 9 meals away from anarchy. Literally, think about it. You got young kids, you got a wife, maybe grandma's at home, and the cupboards go bare, the trucks aren't running, they're burning and looting in the streets, and your little girl's crying because she's hungry. What are you going to do for food? You going to let her starve and cry, or are you going to go out and find her something at whatever cost it takes, right? You're going to go get something because you're not going to let something happen to your little girl. You're 9 meals away from absolute chaos. And it's happening. And they're telling you it's happening and showing it to you. And they want to take away our military ammo. And I tell you the story about, well, they don't know what they're talking about there. Look how stupid they are. They don't know ballistics. They don't know this. They don't know that. They don't have to, because they don't care. Oh, it's hunting or self-protection or standing up to a tyrannical government. They don't care. They don't care about any of it. That's just the rhetoric. What they care is disarming you. Disarming you. Because it's hard to take a people that are armed. We're it, guys. We're the last in the world that have what we have, these firearms, these arms. You know, magazines aren't arms, ammo ain't arms. It's all arms. And it's not here to hunt deer. It's not here to protect yourself. It is to protect yourself against a tyrannical government and the forces they send after you. Now, let's get back to those small town farming kids getting out of high school and going to join the military, see the world, fight for their country and the Constitution. You think those kids are going to, whether they're under order or not, you think they're going to fire on their hometown or the American people? No. No, you may have 1 or 2 mishaps, this and that, but at the end of the day, those young men have common sense and they're going to say, wait a second. I am not firing on my people, on we the people, not firing on them. So how do you do it then if you're this backing force? How do you do it? Bring in men, soldiers from other countries that have been taught their entire lives to hate you, hate your way of life, think you're nothing but a murdering hick, rube, inbred. That's what they're taught every day in their schools. Look at North Korea, the cartoons from when they're kids. It's all about them evil Americans. Same thing in these dictatorships in South American countries, all over the world, all over the Middle East. They hate us. They don't see the good people we are and the wonderful things we do to help neighbors and people at church and things we donate and money we send and food we bring, children we take care of. They don't see that. This is the most giving populace in the world, in history, all time. The American citizenry takes care of the world. All you got to do is ask us, right? If we have some to give, we'll give it. That's what Christianity is about. They hate that too. Look what they're doing in South Africa right now. Look what they're doing to Christians. Look what they're doing in Israel. Those are people from other countries. Like I said, they're not all bad. They'll fire. They'll fire. A lot of you guys like to talk about the blue helmets, right? UN troops. Boy, you see them running in the streets, you better take cover, huh? Guys, think about how long has it been since the Koffee now? A couple of years, 2-3 years. You guys remember just before that happened what life was like? It's pretty different. Unless somebody brings it up, you don't think about it too much. Someone asks you, well, what's different? Well, everything costs more. Oh, yeah. But how about your everyday life? The politics, the news, conversations with friends, family, coworkers. It's a lot more laid back. Things have gotten so divisive. Or at least that blast of incoming media, right? And when I mean that, it's literally a blast. You're hit all day long, every hour of the day, morning, noon, and night with it. And they'll have you believe that everybody's a racist and a white supremacist and a this and a that. I talk with people of completely different backgrounds than me. Not just color, everything. Everything, you name it. There's no division. There really isn't. We enjoy each other's company, conversation. Everybody gets along. I can honestly say that 99+% of the European population in this country are not racists. They're not. Absolutely are not. They're still the only country that fought a war to stop slavery. No other country in the world did what we did. Yeah, there's a few out there who'll say, well, that's a story. That's made up. Yeah, okay. So it was the Holocaust, right? Sure it was. It's amazing how quickly that news changes between the internet, media, and they'll have this younger generation believing the exact opposite. We fought a world war. This country sacrificed so much. Both my grandfathers served in that war, and there was much more at stake, I'll argue. The world was at stake. Freedom as we know it. Good, evil, or good versus evil, literally on the line. So many lives lost, so many lives changed. Wives and children left behind, off to fight. A lot never coming back. And why? They volunteered. They lined up around the block to sign up to go because they believed in this great experiment. And they believed in the good of this country and this Constitution, that amazing document that still just rings true to this day, every bit of it. Those men that wrote it were just absolutely ingenious. It's something to marvel at. If you've never sat down and read it since 8th grade, I know we don't teach it anymore. Why should we? You don't need to be a citizen to vote. Can you imagine that? I'm not French, but I'm going to hop a plane. I'm going to go over there and vote in their election. I got something to say about it. A lot of countries in this world, when you cross a border, you're confronted with what? Machine guns and minefields. Shot dead on the spot. Not here. We'll give you a voting card, a driver's license, a plastic card loaded with money, place to stay, clothes. We'll kick our children out of high school so you can sleep there. We're canceling school this week, guys. You don't need to learn anything. Come on, move right in. The problem is we've kicked this can down the road for decades. Why? Because whoever was in office at the time, whatever party, it's not good for elections, right? Nobody wants to be that party when the tough decisions need to be made. And it's here. 2024 is not going to be a good year. I'm hoping it's at best on par with last year. But is this the year it pops off? I don't know. But I know just a few years ago, pre-COVID, the world was a much different place for me, for my family. My family was different. It's changed permanently. And a lot had to do with that. Life was fun. Look at what's going on with our economy, our politics, the divisiveness, everything. Everything has changed. The craziness we have to listen and endure. The 99% have to cater to the 1/10 of 1%. Why? You can still be respected, but I don't need to cater to you. You're not the majority. Nowhere near. Nowhere near, but they'll have you believe that it's the majority. They'll have you believe there's tens of millions of this one or that group or this group. And why? To divide you, because you're easily overrun when we're divided. When we all stand together as Americans, do what we did in the big one, WW2, we stood together and nothing could stop us. But we'll let them divide us and divide us and divide us until there's nothing. And then they go, ping. Except it'll be a lot more brutal and horrific. I promise you that. That's the problem. This citizenry doesn't know hard times. Hell, the lights go out for an hour. Your phone goes, the internet goes out. Oh, God forbid the internet's just running slow today. It's running slow. I can't watch my the TikTok video. I mean, and they have a coronary over it. It's not about, oh shit, we got nothing to eat tonight or tomorrow or the next day. Those are hard times. Or my kid's got holes in his shoes he's got to wear to school. Like the Depression, the 30s, 40s. Those people were tough people. They knew how to live and how to do things. They knew how to take this and this and this and make what they needed. The average American today would have a hard time putting together a bowl of cereal. My wife, she makes bread. Hasn't in a while because motorhome, it's a bit hard, but she started making bread, and it looks like something came out of a French bakery. It's marvelous looking, marvelous smelling, taste. It's wonderful. She's making it and she's experimenting until she got it perfect. And I'm sitting there eating a piece with half a pound of butter on it, and looked at her and I said, how many people you think in the country right now know how to bake a loaf of bread from scratch? Think about that. Think about your group of friends or family. How many can bake a loaf of bread? That was standard practice 50 years ago, a little boy, little girl at 5 years old knew how to bake a loaf of bread, right? How to mix the ingredients, let it rise, all that, right? Hell, they probably harvested the grain and ground it. But today, 99% of the people in this country probably wouldn't know what to add to their grocery list to go buy the ingredients to bake bread, let alone bake it. And if you're one of those people, you're screwed. You really are. Maybe not today, tomorrow, this year, but you're screwed. You won't make it the first 6 months. You really won't. Most won't. I'd say 80% won't. Oh, well, there'll be FEMA and this and that. Yeah, okay. Why don't you ask someone who lived through World War II? Not fought in it, but was a citizen of one of those countries that was involved, that saw it up close and personal. Why don't you ask them what it takes to get through that? You don't have it. I promise you, you don't. Some of you guys do. Hell, I don't know if I do. It's scary, guys. And they're coming for your 556. Billions of rounds sold on the commercial market. How did it infiltrate the average citizen? How did they get their hands on it? Why do they have it? They can't have military grade ammo. Why not? That's what it's here for. You know what the Second Amendment says? You know why it says we can have our guns? To shoot tyrants in the face. That's why. Not to go deer hunting. That's what it's there for. That's why it doesn't matter if they know ballistics or what's good or what's not. They don't care. The story just has to sound good because it's all about taking them away. Bottom line. If they could just say, turn them in or you're going to jail, they'd do it tomorrow. They'd do it tomorrow. They went on to say, because they got to tug at the heartstrings, you know, in that story. They said 40% of the 5.56 ammo comes out of Lake City. And guess what it was used for? The majority of mass shootings, those shooters used Lake City ammunition. That's what they said. The Parkland shooting, that synagogue shooting, Uvalde shooting, they said was racist. Remember that one? Lake City ammo. Well, it's no wonder it was used. Well, it's the most popular rifle in the country by far. And the civilian ammo comes out of the Lake City plant. They want it shut down. So that right there tells you their agenda. We can't stop the guns. We'll cut off 40% of the ammo for the most popular rifle in the country. What do you think that'll do to ammo prices? You won't be able to afford it. That's what. They couldn't pass their tax on it. Now they'll just cut off the supply, and good old supply and demand will do its thing, and you won't have any. And that's their reasoning. That's why they wrote the letter. Do you think this Letitia, whatever the hell her name is, up in New York, just was sitting around one morning, sipping on her coffee, going, what to do today? I know. 5.56 Lake City ammunition. She doesn't know what Lake City is. She doesn't know where it is. She doesn't know what 5.56 means or what it does. And she certainly didn't come up with the idea on her own, let alone enlist 20 attorneys general to sign on to her letter. Do you really think that happened? Ask yourself that question. Who put Letitia up to it? Who? She's a shitbag attorney from New York City, and she knows all this, and that's the biggest thing on her agenda today. I'm going to stop this. She doesn't know shit. Nothing. So who put it up to her? Who put her up to it? That's what you got to ask yourself. Guys, look at what's going on. Open your eyes. And it keeps coming. It's death by 1,000 cuts. I hope you're smarter than that. The key to all of this is, first, nobody wants to admit it. They want to take the time. Oh, be quiet. I hear it. It's all conspiracy. No, it's not. They're telling you. They tell you every day what they're doing. You'll own nothing and like it. Yeah. Tug at the heartstrings. Oh, all these shootings that happened, blah, 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 blah. Not by a long shot was it the most popular bullet used. It's just rhetoric. And then they say, well, how is it making its way into civilian hands when the Lake City ammo plant's being subsidized by American tax dollars? $860 million just put in to revamp the plant. Military use. They're bullets. A bullet doesn't know if it's for military use or civilian use. Same bullet. But they want to tell you it's not appropriate for you. How did it get diverted to civilian hands? Anyhow, that's my rant for today and my 2A story. And now we'll get on to some fun stuff. We talked about this is Stava ZPAP underfolder coming out. I gotta hang it up if I don't get me one of them, right, guys? My quintessential, what started this channel. I gotta get one. I gotta figure it out. I gotta go be really, really nice to my wife. Let's see who's in the chat real quick. Hattori Hanzo, of course. Zastava underfolder release celebration, he asked. I said, yeah, after 7 weeks of being gone. And I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to say I am absolutely blessed that, for the most part, perfect strangers, you guys, my listeners, viewers, some of you I've met in person, and this one person in particular I've met, but they care enough to drop me an email and say, hey, man, you doing okay? Everything all right? I know you're busy and all, but we miss you. I haven't seen you. What's going on? Can we do anything to help? Perfect strangers, not one, several. I was taken back. I kind of had to sit back and, wow. Maybe what I do does mean something. Maybe it does get through to people. I don't know. They're certainly good people, great people. I talk to them, the emails, in person sometimes, but it's just nice to know that somebody cares. In today's day and age, when people run somebody over for anything. Anyhow, Joe's in here. He says, "Good to see you, Rock. It's good to see you too, Joe." Didn't know it dropped until Rabbit Hole posted a day or two back. Yeah. Well, I can't say who's got them, but you know who's got them. I got to get one. I got to figure it out. Even if I got to sell something, well, got to get one. Joe Morgan, you're still my favorite. DB Cooper, what's up, yo? Nothing. It's good to be back. It's really good to be back. I'm alive. I'm cornered. I love the 90s. Great gun. Get yourself a straight receiver, not the slant. Hey, solid, made in a military plant in China. Too bad you can't get them anymore. They cut those off too. Can't buy anything out of China. Can't buy anything out of Russia. They're cutting them. Wait till Bulgaria goes away. God forbid Yugo, Romania will be left with nothing. They'll find a way. DB Cooper. Off point 243 deer coyote round is much deadlier than any military grade 5.56. These folks are fools. Bing, bing, bing. We have a winner. Absolutely. They don't know what they're talking about. There are dozens and dozens of SF guys, Navy SEALs, that they went and said, look, we need something different. That's how the 77 grain bullet came into being, I think, was they said, we're putting 5-6 rounds in these guys. And these aren't, drugged up Somalis or something. These are just, they'd pump 5-6 rounds and the guy would get up and run away. Didn't even know he was hit. Sometimes they said it was amazing. They said, I can't believe it. I just shot this guy 5 times with a high-powered assault rifle, and he jogged away. That they're going to use. Like I said, they don't care, guys. They don't care. Me and you know that, and we say, oh, they're fools. Yeah, they don't care because it's just a story. The details don't matter because there's only one agenda, and that's to take it all away. Because they're pretty sure that what they're going to do to you, you're not going to like too much. As a matter of fact, you're not going to like it so much that you're going to take those weapons they want to take away and use them back against them. That's the real reason. Cheap garage is key. What? AG was elected by Arizona AG was elected by less than 300 votes. Probably with a voting machine from whatchamacallit, our latest victim of communism in South America. That's where our voting machines come from. You need to put 4 or 5 into a dude's center mass, and he'd still be able to change his mag and stay in the fight. Yeah, right. I'm not going to say it doesn't. I mean, you put one in the old melon, and he ain't moving too much. I mean, you catch. It's not like catching a 30-06 or a 308 hunting round to the chest and just dumping all that. You want to dump all that energy into the target. When it goes in and out, it did nothing but disrupt the little space, granted at a high rate of speed. But you want that projectile to dump all of its energy and all of its mass into that mass. That's where it does the damage. That's where that concussive shock comes from. And that's what does the damage. Shut up, militant. I do it. Easy Cobras. It's early GWAT. All we had. Yeah, right? That's it. And they complained about it. All they had was green tip. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, those early years. Yep, that's what they were talking about. You guys need to go to the Sean Ryan channel and watch some of this stuff. You want to, you talk about tugging at heartstrings? These men and what they did in their stories, and even some of the hardships they faced coming back out of that. I have more respect for those people than you could ever imagine. I love those guys. I don't think higher of anyone in the world than I do of them. It's absolutely amazing. I took a deer with an AK this year. Good for you. Let me tell you a funny story. So, and we're going to get to my deer. So I had been bow hunting my butt off, right? Sitting in my tree stand and everything, bow hunting. I missed a really nice 10-pointer, like the second sit. And then like my 4th sit, I shot my buck. And then gun season came. So I go out opening morning and I got, we were going to have a thing of what gun I hunted with. Well, nobody guessed, I guess. Or if I did, tell me what I promised you and I'll get you whatever I promised you. Anyway, I hunted with my Zastava NPAP with my, what's on that one? A 3-power, a 5-power primary arms prism scope. And I had a 10-round mag in it, which is legal here. And climbed up in my tree. And daylight comes, and I don't hear many shots that morning, maybe 10 or 11 shots. And most of them were coming down from, there's some conservancy down the road a ways. It's public land, and there's bow season and then opening day of rifle season. There were cars and trucks parked all along the road, both sides. And I heard some shots in there. Then it quieted down and didn't hear nothing. Anyhow, about, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I happen to look over and I see a buck come out of the neighbor's tree line, and he's coming across my field at a pretty good run. But he's wide open. He's right there. And I look over and I see him. I go, oh, look at that. Boy, oh boy. If I had a rifle, that'd be an easy oh, shit. In my head, I'm thinking bow season. And I'm thinking that's out of range for my bow. So I'm just watching him run by like, la, la, la. And then I look down and I go, shit. I had a gun in my lap. All I had to do was boom, done. But in my head, I had a bow in my lap. I'm sitting in the same tree stand, everything. Yeah, that was a lucky deer that morning. I had a little brain fart. That's all. Too funny. Neighbor must have kicked him up. He was maybe 100 yards, maybe. Right across the field, there was a tree line straight out in front of me. I was in a break in the tree line, and he's running right to left here. I could have scooched over in my seat just like this. Boom, done. Would have dropped him right on his chin. Nice deer, too. But, oh well. I'm thinking I got a bow in my hand. I'm like, what in the hell? What was I thinking? Anyhow, because I do so much more bow hunting than rifle hunting, and even in years past, I do 100 times the amount of bow hunting that I do than rifle hunting. I enjoy it more. Anyhow, so for those of you that heard the deer story, you know where we left off, right? And for those that haven't, we purchased this new property for our home. We're building a home on it. And we got a bunch of acres. And my plan is to do like I did on my other property that was smaller, but still rural farmland. We leased the farmland out to a farmer. And but lots of room to do what I want. We want to have honeybees and a garden and ranges. I'm putting some ranges on the property, a rifle range, pistol range, all kinds of cool stuff. I'd like to get some solar going. I wanted to originally, but we're not doing it now. But all kinds of plans, right? And I hadn't been thinking much about hunting because when I did go deer hunting, which was very few times in the last 20 years, I just, family, not a lot of time, that. But I went 3 times, 4 times in the last 20 years probably. But before that, I hunted all the time. I mean, all the college, I hunted every single day the season was open. But I didn't buy this property thinking hunting. I thought more shooting, ranges, stuff like that. That's what I really wanted. Until I started seeing deer and pictures from my realtor and prints and sheds, and then I got a camera and I put it out, and oh my God, just monster bucks everywhere. Like not too many does, just bucks everywhere. Usually it's the opposite way. I'm like, holy crap. So opening day is coming. I want to hunt. I'll go to my storage unit because we're living in a motorhome while we're building the house. I'll get my bow and all my shit and we'll get going. I can't get it. It's buried in storage. It's so far back, it'd take me a full day just to get it out. So I bought a new bow and went out hunting. And with the cameras and just scouting and stuff, I had them patterned pretty good. I mean, they do, it's almost cyclical. If you've been hunting a long time and you know deer movement and terrain and the way and where the food is and where the bedding areas are, you just got to pattern them. And I was only patterning the large mature bucks. And I think it might have been a couple of days before I showed my wife, look, I wrote out this whole thing of when these $5 or $6 were traveling. And I said, look, there's a 20-minute window where he's going to be traveling southbound right through here. And the first morning I got the wind that'll work with that stand, I'm going to get that damn deer in that 20-minute window. I don't need to sit out there all day. I'll get out there 45 minutes before that 20-minute time, and I'll stay till 40 minutes after. I'm going to get this deer. Sure enough, like clockwork, man. And I missed. I put it right under him. Shook some hair off his belly. Anyhow, got my pattern. I'm like, all right, I know this one's going to be coming through here, blah, blah, blah. If you look at the thumb in this video, there's 2 deer on there. And the big one is the one I was after. And frankly, it's the one I thought I shot. It's amazing, even after hunting all these years, if you don't have time where you see that deer coming from a distance and you can get your binoculars up and look, that's one thing. You can tell, oh, shit, that ain't him, or, oh, that's him, all right. I got out there before sunrise, and I'm in that same stand. So I got a cornfield to my right and a fallow field to my left. And the tree line goes out straight in front of me, and I'm in the break in that tree line, a grass path that goes through it in front of me. Sun comes up. I see a doe come out of that tree line about 40 yards out, and she's calm as could be, just walking along, feeding in the cornfield they had just cut 2 days before. She's just feeding along, looking up, looking around, just has no idea I'm there. I got the wind. Everything's perfect. I watch her walk. She goes behind this big dirt pile that we had piled up from putting the drive in. And I can't see her other than when she lifts her head up. Then she comes back out from there. And all of a sudden, she went from like the most relaxed thing in the world to she looked back where she had come from, the tree line, like bing. And she's looking at the tree line, and I can see her trying to smell. And it's not me. It's something that's coming from where she came from. And she whips around, and she just at a good trots across the field through the neighbor's tree line and gone. I go, here he comes. He's coming. Something's coming after. It was mid-rut, right in the rut. And just then I look up, and here's this buck, and he's moving, nose to the ground, and he's coming right at me at a full trot. He's going to pass right to my left here. I'm going to draw, and boom. But from the time I saw him to one more step, he would have been in the woods, and I couldn't get a shot. So I got my bow up. I came to full draw as he hit the grass path, and he's still trucking, and I went, burp, and he stopped, and boom, we'll let him have it. Right in the boiler room. And boof, he goes crashing off through the trees. I had a real hard time. I'll make this story short because most guys heard it already. I didn't find blood right away. I was all upset. I'm like, but my arrow wasn't there, so I know the arrow's in him. And this main heavily traveled deer path's right there. I thought he was going down there. Couldn't find blood. I saw a little spray where I hit him in some hair, but then really nothing. So I walked a mile out to my car because I don't pull into the property when I hunt. Walked a mile out, had a cigarette, walked back, and I start looking. God damn, I can't find it. So, well, I'm going to just clear my head for a minute. And I had waited a half hour to get down from the tree. So I go back out to the car. I drive the car up now. Now I start looking, and I go, wait a minute. I got up in the tree stand. I looked down. I'm like, he went in there. It looked like he went down the trail. I hit him good, and he made his own trail. He just went busting off. I found the blood. I start tracking him. Huge fallen tree. To this day, I have no idea how he went under it or over it or what he did because I couldn't go through it or under it in 10 minutes, let alone at a full run. Boof. Anyways, he must have got hung up in there because the arrow out the other side. I found the arrow there 30 yards in. Over the next hour, I track him another 150 yards, and all of a sudden, to my right, I bust a deer. Boof. I'm like, oh, please, God, don't tell me I just kicked that deer out of the bed. I shot him at 7:45 a.m., and at that time, it was probably 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock maybe. And I jumped this deer. I walk over there. There's a huge oak tree this big around, and it's cracked off about 18 feet up. And so it's just this huge trunk. I walk around the back, and there's a deer bed all mashed down like a steamroller was in there with a big blood stain in the middle of it. But I didn't let him go long enough. I didn't think, I'm like, there's no way I got shot that deer. No way in hell. And I didn't gut shoot him. There's bright red blood on the whole arrow, fletching everything through and through. Must have been hanging out almost 3/4 of the way, and that tree ripped the last bit out. But there'd be a lot of blood, then not a lot, then more, then, but they always lay down on that side and let the dirt pack in it, So where I busted them from the tree, I couldn't find blood. Nothing. I lost the track. I'm like, God damn. Go back out to the car. I call a bunch of friends, and finally a couple of them said, yeah, we'll be out to help you. So about 2:30 they get there. In the interim, I'm driving down that same grass trail in my side-by-side to go check a deer camera. I pull up on my side-by-side. I jump out, and as I'm closing the door, I look down, and there's a huge blood trail going across the trail. I'm like, man, was that lucky? That saved me about 2 hours of tracking down this ridge. I looked up, and I'm like, yep, he came right down the ridge there. I track it out to the cornfield they had just cut. About 15 yards out into the corn, I lose the blood trail completely. And he was bleeding good. I'm like, what the hell? But the wind was blowing like 30 miles an hour that day, and they had cut it so all the corn stalks and corn whatever husks were blowing, so the blood was gone. At that point, I back out again. My buddies get there. We got about an hour till dark. I bring him out to where I lost it. I said, all right, where do you think he went? He either went in the tree line over here, or he headed toward my neighbor there. I had checked the road, my neighbor's driveway, brand new drive, yellow limestone powder. I'd see blood dropping on it, nothing. So we're all standing there, and I had a thought of where he had went, but I don't want to cloud their judgment. So I said, where do you think he went? And my one buddy went, he's in that clump of trees right there. 30-foot around clump of trees in the middle of a cornfield, like only cover there. I said, that was my thought exactly. I bet he's sitting in there. My buddy's going out that way, and the other two are going to check the other tree line. My buddy, all of a sudden, he goes, hey. I turn around, and he's looking in there. He goes, I see him. He's right there. He goes, he's hurt. You don't want to get up. It looks like you don't want to get up. And he pulls his concealed carry pistol out. And I said, no. Put that away. I'm not going to jail or losing my hunting rights for anybody. Put it away. I said, I'll go get the bow. I'll be right there. I'd run my tail off to grab my bow out of the side-by-side. I go running out there. He saw him go up over the rise of this cornfield and into my neighbor's trees. We found one tiny drop of blood there. Couldn't find anything. It's dark. I said, well, we'll let it go till tomorrow. The next morning, I'll come out here early to get him. Well, turns out I had to go into work that day. I could not get out of there. Could not. I was the only one there. I called all these dog tracking services, everything. Nobody, they were booked solid. Nobody could get out. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So the next day, I go out there. I'm figuring, well, it was cold. Maybe the meat will be still good, but I got to find this deer. I brought my dog with me, just not that she can track anything. I thought maybe she'd see something or smell something. I searched the entire day from morning till dark, everywhere. And part of that property was so thick, I couldn't get in. It was the briar. The dog wouldn't even go in. Walked in this other neighbor's field. I had gotten permission to go check. He had a bunch of hunting stands out and stuff. I walked in a ways, and there was a stand. I'm like, I don't want to leave all scent all over stuff. I don't know this new neighbor that well. And I backed up. went home. I was sick to my stomach for a week over it. I've never lost a deer. Fast forward 3 weeks. It's a Sunday. I'm sitting right here having coffee with my wife in the morning, and my cell phone rings. It's my other neighbor. He says, "Hey, John, your other neighbor with the deer stands, he found your deer. Give him a call. Here's his number." You're kidding me. So everybody knew, and everyone thought it was that monster buck. So I call him. He says, "Oh, yeah, I found him right by my water hole. You know where the pine trees are?" I said, "Yeah, I went in there." He goes, and I told him where I went to. He goes, "Had you taken another 15 steps, you would have found him laying right there." Trying to do the right thing. Anyhow, he says, "I found him mostly by smell." He goes, "It was horrible." So he farms that land over there, but he took the head for me, put it in a garbage bag, and then he brought his bobcat over from his farm, and where they put like calves that are stillborn and stuff, he put it in that pile, pushed the thing over, buried him. That was that. He said, "I'll meet you at your driveway and you can get your head." And I felt bad asking him. I said, "You didn't happen to get the cape too, did you?" He said, "No." He goes, "I grabbed it and the hair was just sloughing off it. I whacked the head and I got it for you. At least you got that." So I was kind of shocked when I saw it. I'm like, that ain't the deer I thought it was, but it was. And then he showed me pictures of where I hit it. I hit him right where I was aiming at the level height-wise, but about 8 inches back. And and here's the weird thing. It went in low because I always aim really low, because when deer hear it, they always recoil down to get ready to spring and jump. And a lot of them will drop 6-8 inches when they do that. So I always aim right low at the leg there, just barely behind in the pocket there, but way low. And sure enough, when they wind up, they drop right in and boom. Well, I don't know if I hit a little twig or something, or I was just off or whatever, or he moved. But it was about that far back, and it caught it was a dead broadside shot. From dead broadside, the liver's maybe that wide. And it packs in behind the lungs, but it runs sideways. Where the lungs run this way, it runs this way. So I caught him right in it, and it went in low, and it came out high. How does that happen? I don't know if it hit a rib wouldn't cause that. I was using Spitfire mechanical broadheads. I don't know. It caught the liver and did that. No gut shot, nothing, but just didn't bleed all that much. And liver shots can take 36 hours to die. So had it been 2 inches forward, I would have caught him probably a double lunger and been done. Had I hit him where I was aiming, would have been heart for sure, if that where it went in. Anyways, killed him. I got it. Unfortunately, I lost all the meat. And the other picture on there is a picture of his rack sticking out of the garbage bag there. So my first thought was, I don't have the cape. I'm just going to learn how to do a European mount. I was going to boil him and whiten the skull and just do a European mount. He's an 8-pointer, but super wide, really wide. And he's got a twin, a duplicate twin. I have a picture of both of them standing side by side eating. One's looking at the camera and one's looking down a little. Identical racks, identical deers. They got to be twins is the only thing I can think. I mean, the racks are identical. Well, I got one of the brothers. So as far as 8-pointers go, that's a nice 8-pointer. And I'm talking with a buddy, and he's like, "You know what?" And my wife said, "Why do you want to screw around with boiling that thing and everything? Take it to the taxidermist." So go to my buddy's taxidermist, and he looks at it. He's like, "Well, that's a pretty nice 8-pointer." I said, "Yeah, it's the first deer off our property, He's like, "Well, shit, I got an extra cape." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, yeah, we'll fit it to it. He goes, you'll never know. I'm like, well, hell yeah, let's do a full mount. So using his cape and my antlers, I got a full mount coming. So it'll be done in August. And it's not a monster, but it's a respectable 8-pointer. I should have measured it, but I will when I get it back. But it was a nice deer, a big, heavy deer. Body was heavy. Yeah, so I'm really happy. It was a good ending. Puts my mind at ease a little bit that, it didn't just go to waste. Funny thing was, when he found it, it had been out there 3 weeks. A coyote never touched it. It was laying in grass right next to the pond. Birds didn't even get to the eyes, nothing. It was like perfect, except it was bad. It got cold and then it warmed up for a little bit. But at least we got him, and it's being mounted, and it can go in the new house, and it's the first deer on the property. It's kind of cool. And I'll get the other one. Nobody got that other one that I heard in the area here, so I can't wait to see what he looks like next year. And you guys know how bummed I was about that, man. So it made my day. I was jumping for joy. I told my wife, I said, I shot a lot of deer, but it was bugging me so bad that it went to waste, And, well, it is what it is. So that's cool. Anyhow, let's talk about the homestead itself. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm all plugged up here, and I don't want to blow a snot rocket in front of y'all. Hold on. There, you can just hear it. How's that sound? Anyways, say hello to our new sponsor, Red Bull Peach. Kidding. Not Brandon Herrera. They wouldn't sponsor me. I wish they would, though. This stuff is delicious. I love it. Don't worry, honey. It's only my 5th one today. Joking. All right. We're going to get into what's going on the property here. I'm living on the property. We're in the motorhome. And a lot has went down. And seasons have changed. It's the North Pole outside here. I hope all your holidays were good. I hope you had a great holiday. Let me know what you guys got for Christmas. Did you get anything cool that goes bang? Let's see. Super easy, Cobras, Militant, early GWAT. Yeah, I took a deer with an AK. Yeah, I should have. Sorry, eat my dinner. Communication just sent to my AG requesting a list of calibers she believes should be illegal for me to own or purchase. You just got to explain to them that military ammo is nothing special. It really isn't. 8 million so far on Joe's watch. Isn't that incredible? Texas State Guard is refusing to follow orders from their governor. They went to the border and started helping Border Patrol process illegals and get them. You remember last time all this crap was going on early on, and there were groups of civilians that were headed down there. I think there were maybe there was a militia, Michigan militia or something went down there. A lot of just citizens were headed down there. I can't believe that hasn't started to happen. If there was a push for that, I'd go. I'd load up and go. Absolutely, I'd go guard our border. I'm not talking about, anything crazy, but guarding the border, period. It's our country. I think we should defend it. So they defied the orders and they're helping them process. Good. They want bodies for World War III. That has been done before. I was breaking up. I hope I'm still good here. Anyone else getting bad audio? There's my audio better. You know what? I wonder if the furnace kicked. Kind of loud in an RV when the furnace is fine though. That's weird, ain't it? Had some buffering earlier. Good. I hope everything's. I can't even effectively put into words how completely disturbed I am with what I've witnessed in the past 3 years. Tell me about it, man, or send me an email. I'd really like to know firsthand accounts, because frankly, it's like everything else. You don't know what to believe. I mean, the places I get my information from, I've been watching, and or a lot I know firsthand through YouTube things I've met. So I know they're not wackos. I know they're not bullshit. I know they're not putting fake info out there. But it's always good to hear from somebody that has firsthand knowledge. They couldn't generate enough numbers to fit in all the magazines I have. Yeah, right? Speaking of camo, my new set of ATAX FGCSU finally showed up. So guess what I did? So I was hunting because I couldn't get to all my hunting gear. So my wife finally said, go get yourself some camo at Fleet Farm or whatever. And I got their store brand Huntworth. There's some videos out there on it. It's inexpensive, but it's nice. I got this cool pattern. I wanted a bark sort of pattern because the leaves were mostly down. I didn't want a bunch of green, and skylight myself. So I got this Huntsworth pattern. And frankly, it was warm. It was comfortable. Nice stuff. Not a lot of money. But I really had my eye on this Under Armour gear. They've got a forest pattern. So for Christmas, they're asking me what I want. I said, I want this Under Armour gear. It's so nice made, comfy, soft. And I said, I've got super cold weather gear. I want an early season, mid-season setup. So they got me, they went nuts. My wife, because first responder, she gets a discount with Under Armour, like big time, like 50% or something off. I don't know, 30%. Anyways, Christmas, I got the jacket, pants. I got their boots, which are kick-ass. These boots are amazing. They're like high-top gym shoes, 100% waterproof, super wide soles, so you walk real soft. And the heel is super wide, too. Real stable. Here's the pattern. Where's the front? Hold on. Give me a moment. What the hell is the Under Armour is camouflaged. So this is the hat. It's reversible. The beanie. And I needed gloves because it's so cold out. So I figured when I buy regular gloves, I might as well buy the gloves I need for it. So I bought the heavy winter gloves in the Under Armour pattern tonight. But yeah, boots, jacket, pants. I already had a shirt. Here's the shirt. I should put my laundry away. This is the hoodie. I've had this for 2 or 3 years now, but it's a great pattern. It looks tan, like their tan pattern, but it's green. The light's doing it. Super high-end stuff. Really nice. And so I'm all set for early season next year, head to toe, everything. And yeah, really liking it. Camos, you got to be comfortable, right? And these pants are super comfortable. And the jacket, the way it articulates in the shoulders and everything to draw, that's the one thing I like over the cheaper camo. It moves in all the right spots. It's too late to fix it. It's already been done. Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. I can't say it's done. Never underestimate American patriots. MJS headlines about Whitewater are humorous. What'd they say? You're talking Whitewater, Wisconsin, right? Leaders welcome immigrants, but recognize growing pains. I'm gonna drive up there on Sunday just to see what the hell is going on. It's crazy. I can't even believe it. I know several Marines. All are unhappy with the current state of the Corps. Yeah. Yep. All right. I'm headed over to 28. Oh, shit. His is tonight. That's right. I didn't mean to do that. For some reason, I had in my head it was Thursday. I never want to go on when he goes on. Damn it. You better have a year's worth of food for everyone in the house, access to water, good plan to protect it. protecting it's going to be a thing, and hiding it. Hiding what you got for your food, your water, everything. You need to have some there, so when they show up, you can give them part of it because they're going to take it. FEMA, I mean, and others, but you need to hide off site or really well hidden. Chris Murphy probably put her up to it. That's so awesome. Congrats on the book, Chris. Got a new crossbow. What'd you get? Did you get a, oh shit, what's the one? Raven? Or did you get a 10-point or what? I like those Ravens, but man, that's a lot of money. Holy Christ. Sort of 10 points for that matter. I got this. So my bow, my bear, I bought a Whitetail Pro or whatever. It's their flagship bow with the echo cams and everything. And I got it in the Fred Bear throwback camo pattern. And then I see this. Carhartt makes it. My bow dealer gave me a Carhartt hat in this pattern because of the Fred Bear bow. And then my wife got me this for Christmas. It's a throwback camo. Just looks just like the stuff Fred Bear always put on his bows. It matches my bow, so it's pretty cool. I love that throwback pattern. 10-point Wicked Ridge. I was like, they said that's one of the best crossbows for the money. That Wicked Ridge. I was looking at it. Sounds good. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I don't hold anything against anyone that wants to hunt with a crossbow, and I want to shoot one. I won't hunt with one, and here's why. And please don't go, oh shit, here he goes. No, it's not that. You do you. I'm good with that. But my opinion is, for years and years, we all know it was for disabled people, elderly, someone that couldn't draw it, and I know the deal. But I believe it's brought, archery season was archery season. I think it's brought too many hunters in to bow hunting. And let's face it, it's not bow hunting per se, because you don't need to be like my shot, 18 yards. You got to get close. 30 yards, I'm already going, it's a bit far. I don't want to take the chance. But you can, and I mean easily, I've shot them, easily take a deer at 75 yards with a crossbow. Easily, no problem. So it's attracted, let's face it, the ones that are doing it are the guys that were predominantly gun hunting, is what I believe. Not everyone, but a lot of them. It just extended their season. Ooh, shoots like a gun, looks like a gun, I can hunt. And I think it's detrimental to the deer herds. And I think too many deer are being taken with it. And let's face it, that happened through a couple companies putting a lot of money, lobbying money to get them to open these seasons to it. And Michigan especially, man, there's not enough deer in that state. They need to change a lot of the DNR laws there. All these states have got 2 buck seasons where you can take 2 bucks. You get 2 buck tags. That's got to stop. I know a lot of guys like, well, I need meat and this and that. Come on. You want, and then cry about not having big deer, scrawny little deer, this, that, spikers, forkhorns. You want, stop the 2 buck tags per resident and you'll fix it. But they keep going, and then you add in that, and then I don't know. I like shooting them. I think they're cool as shit. When I first saw Raven and somebody showed me it and how it all worked, I'm like, oh, I want one of these. I'm gonna go hunt with one. And then when the property came, I decided, okay, I gotta get a bow. I thought about that, and I went, no, I want to do it how I do it. I enjoy it, and I'm not saying I won't shoot one. The day comes where I can't draw one back anymore, absolutely, I'll shoot a crossbow. It's not that. I'm not one of those guys like, screw them, I'm better than them, you need to have my prowess. And No, I'm not like that. I'm just saying I think it's brought in too many hunters. The uh, the success rates have went way up, and then those same states will cry about how small their deer are, or how small the deer herd is, or both. You can't have it both ways. You sacrifice a little for a couple years, and it'll get so tremendously good you won't even believe it. But nobody wants to do that. And let's face it, very few people hunt. I love the guys. I don't care how big the rack is. I do it for the meat. Bullshit. If you had your choice between a forkhorn or the 10-pointer, what are you shooting? Both bodies are the same. You know? So it's so funny to hear these guys argue like that. I laugh. St. 1886, we're not hunting for the meat. I mean, we're hunting for the meat, don't get me wrong, but we're not. It's not a life or death situation. You know what I mean? Anyhow, so let's talk about the progress made. So I ran into some issues. Things were dragging out. I kept feeling like I was getting the push off from my builder, or something was just not up. We were wasting. He'd be like, all right, next week we're going to start. And then next week would come, there'd be an excuse. We get pushed off another week. And all of a sudden, there's 2 weeks. Then, oh, shit, 3 weeks we just wasted. I mean, I should be, let's see, I should be 90 days from moving in my house right now. Instead, I'll be there in June, if I'm lucky. So finally, me and my wife were like, this is ridiculous. We got to have a come to Jesus meeting. Partially because I found out a few things. Number one, when you're married to someone as long as me and my wife have been married, you can just sense something, and my wife is not one to worry. She's a take charge kind of person. If something's not right, she fixes it, and I could just tell she was just so worried and so like anxiety ridden sort of. And then she starts talking to me about the money that was released from the construction loan and this and that. And I said, well, what do you mean? Haven't they released what they were supposed to for the work done? She said, well, he's got X amount of money of ours, and all we got is a driveway. I'm like, and the amount was big. And I'm like, oh my God. And now I'm like, Jesus. And I wasn't blaming her at all. I think maybe she thought I would be upset or something, but I wasn't. I was concerned like she was. We're going along. The title company tells you what to do, And I thought, watch this. I'm going to be one of these guys get screwed and I'm homeless and lost all my equity money. Bottom line was, I had my driveway and road and all that was X amount. And he had 4 times that much money pulled from the loan. And how he got it pulled from the loan was, I forget the term it was called, but essentially it meant incidentals, like permitting, stuff like that. Well, that don't add up to this kind of money. It was more money than I paid for my first house, okay? And it wasn't, it was the max that could have been withdrawn, I guess, up until framing. I had no foundation, no nothing, no electricity yet. The state had been, or the utility company had been paid for the temporary power, but it wasn't in yet. My driveway was paid for, except my wife became sort of friends with the guy that did the driveway's wife. They talk once in a while, and somehow in conversation it came up, well, you guys got paid for the drive, blah, blah, blah. She goes, we just got paid yesterday. My wife's like, what? I authorized that for the builder and the title company like 40 days ago. She's like, we just got it yesterday. And on top of it, my builder gave her the check. He said, it's $1,500 short. I'm going to write you a check for $1,500. Can you hold it for a week? What does that tell you right there? Not only does he have Oh, screw it. He had 150 grand of my money, and I had about $40,000 worth of work done. And he's telling him to hold a check. So we found that out. Then he's telling me, turns out a neighbor, farmer across the street, did all my site clearing. And my builder was telling me, well, I just talked to him. I tried calling him 3 times this week, and I talked to him twice last week. I run into the guy. I'm like, hey, my builder's been trying to get a hold of you. He's like, he ain't called me. You didn't talk to him last week? No, I haven't talked to him since 6 weeks ago. You're kidding me. Then the inspector, I'm sitting in my deer stand, opening morning of gun season, after that buck ran out and I didn't shoot it. And this truck pulls in my driveway. My truck's parked way down the drive, sideways. He drives around my truck into the field, comes all the way up the road, 40 yards from my deer stand, and he's sitting there looking at this temporary electric they put it up on the board, but they hadn't trenched yet. And he's looking at it like he doesn't know what he's looking at. I jump out of my deer stand. I got an AK in my hand. I walk up to him. I said, can I help you? He said, no. I said, are you the electrician? He says, no. I said, well, what are you doing here? I said, you're interrupting my deer hunt, you know? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was opening morning till I was halfway here. And whatever. I said, well, what are you doing? He goes, I'm the inspector from the town or county or whatever, and I'll be doing all your inspections. And I said, oh, okay, so you're the guy. I said, my builder said he tried to call you and this and that. He said, he hasn't called me. Matter of fact, we're waiting. I'm waiting on the permit this whole time. He says, no, all he's got to do is give me the check. And, oh, by the way, he's not even certified to build a house in the state of Wisconsin. He hasn't done his testing and everything. I go, what? He goes, yeah. He doesn't have the qualifications to build a house here in Wisconsin. I said, what's involved in that? He says, well, it's a 12-hour exam or study for 12 hours for it. If he gets it, the day he gets it in, it'll be 7 to 10 days till he hears back and gets his certificate. And he's just got to give me that number and we're good to go. But I've been waiting on it for like 4 weeks. Holy shit. So the day after Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving evening, about 9 o'clock at night, we do a Zoom call. And I'm talking to him and I'm asking him these questions that I already know the answers to. And he's lying to me and lying to me and lying to me. And I get to the last question and I lost it. I blew up on him. I said, stop lying. I'm not lying. Open your mouth one more time and we're done. You're going to listen to what I have to say and you're going to do what I tell you to do, or you're not going to like the outcome. So I said, here's what you're going to do. Well, I'm for a bit. So he starts to tell me, well, I said, here's what I believe is happening. I said, you're stretched too thin and my money is funding some other job you got, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said, if that's the case, well, I can't say on here what I said, but I said, you're going to take that test Monday, and then at worst case, they said it's 10 days till you have your certificate. That's 10 days. Then you said 1 day for the forms, and 1 or 2 days for the forms and a day to pour concrete. So that's 14 days. If I don't have cement on day 14, I'm going straight down to the title company, and then I'm going to call the Attorney General, and I don't think either of them are going to care much for your accounting practices. Well, you got to understand, it's sort of like working capital. I said, stop. I said, it's your business, not mine. You fund your working capital. Nobody gives me working capital to run my business, and you're certainly not using mine for somebody else's. And I get it, these general fund and this and that. But anyhow, long story short, that was Friday night, 10 o'clock. Saturday at 4 a.m., I get an email that he forwarded to me from the state showing he completed it. He must have pulled an all-nighter college. I scared the shit out of him. Foundation's in. It's cured. They backfilled the other day. They got a little bit of backfill left. Then the snowstorm hit, and they were supposed to have steel in by today. But then the steel guy called and said, well, I need such and such framed on the back first. And now we've got 10 minus 13 coming this week, this whole next week. So they're dead in the water this whole week. But then it warms back up again. So we'll have steel, the backfilling done, lumber is being dropped, and they start framing, 3 weeks to frame. I should have the entire house up, under roof, windows in, completely sealed up by, I think, let's see, about first week of February. So we just got to make up about a week in there somewhere. But it's all going good. Electric's in, so we can move the motorhome out here, so that's plugged in. I don't have a well. We're not going to do that till spring, so I've got a leg tank in my truck, and I fill it with water, and I bring it out here. I got a little Harbor Freight pump. I pump it into the main tank of the RV. We're still got full water usage here, even though it's well below freezing. I have a little heater in the water compartment, keeps everything perfect. It's warm in here. I've got 100 gallon propane tank hooked in. Our onboard tank would only last 4 or 5 days. That's like a 40 pounder, 60 pounder. This 100 pounder now has been 9, 10, 11 days now, and it's still going. I keep thinking it's going to run out. But the way I got it hooked up, if we run out there, I can run outside, shut off the gallon, turn on the onboard tank, and use that as backup till I run the 100 pounder to work, fill it up, come back, put it in. Plus I got a 30 pounder spare just in case. We haul the gray water and sewage out in a tote tank. I've got a macerator pump that pumps that in, and I take that and dump it at our dump station at work. And so we are all good. However, it's been 30s and 20s and maybe upper teens. Well, now we're dropping 40 degrees colder than that, 13 below. It's damn hard to get a motorhome to work right in those weather. The water system might just freeze. And what I worry about is we've got a big outside kitchen with a sink, and on the inside of that is our washing machine, and there's no cutoffs for those outside kitchen ones. And it's going to freeze. I know it. We've had it freeze up a little bit in the morning once in a while. You turn on no water. I put a little cube heater on in the water compartment. 2 minutes later, it's running. It's just slushing up, and that won't hurt pecs. So I'm putting another heater in that outside kitchen that's thermostatically controlled. And then the same guy that is, my neighbors here are awesome, just awesome. The one guy cleared the trees, helped with the drive. He's plowing for me, or I'd be stuck in here right now. He's grew some wheat last year, so he's bringing me 50 bales of straw to put around the perimeter of the motorhome to skirt it in. And once that's in and the wind's not whipping underneath, which it's almost blocked now by snow, but or maybe it is, but that should be just fine even in those temperatures. Furnace runs, but not ridiculously crazy. It's not drafty. There's some cold air comes from under the dash here because these RV companies never seal them right. So I'm going to do the flashlight at night thing and a can of great stuff. And then I'm going to take some big fluffy old quilts and just kind of pack them under the dash for this cold weather. Right now, you don't need it. I mean, I can feel it's cooler up here. But yeah, everything's working fine, running fine. So sort of getting settled, but at first it was crazy. It was very stressful on both of us. Tight space, stuff not organized yet. It's just very stressful on both of us. and then I think we're good now. I don't know. And then that was part of why there you didn't see any of my live streams or videos coming out. Just so much going on and getting this property and holidays and all that stuff. And I want to mention one thing. I hope anybody on here that's been hanging out for a while or anybody say a little prayer. My wife's father is not doing too well. He had a big heart attack a couple years ago, and he's having some complications with renal system, his kidneys. And he's just a good dude. I love talking to him. I want him to see his property, help me with it, give me some ideas. He's the guy to talk to on that. And so if you remember him in your prayers, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, we're out here. The dogs are here. They're loving it. Except the Chihuahua. He don't like the snow and cold too much. But the other dog, the Great Pyrenees, man, she'll lay out in this stuff. She loves it. It's like a beach out here in this weather for her. But everything's good. Internet's good. We got electric now. I don't have to worry about popping breakers and all that. As long as we can get through this super cold spell, we'll be good. Drivers in, foundations in, everything. Got my deer. Dealing a little bit with a neighbor that is kind of clearing trees all the way to my property line, which is not ideal, but it's his property. It's my property. I'm going to do what I want to do with it, right? So who am I to tell him? But I don't know. It's just not ideal for me. But I can always put up some 14-foot grasses, that kind of thing. I need to make some areas of block areas anyways too to get it to my stands and different stuff. So we'll make it work. You might not have the best view, but oh well. Yeah. Holidays were good. Got some cool camo. Had fun with the family. We were all up north. I kind of wanted it to be like the Griswold Christmas, but we had 0 snow. That's unheard of. In 33 years was the first year we never had an ounce of snow up there. Normally, you got a 2-foot base on the snowmobile trails. You're going to town. I got out. I drilled a few holes in the ice, and it was it varied. In one spot, it was 6 inches. The rest was all 9, 10. And then as I was going to go ice fishing, it rained like hell, and then there was a bunch of water on top of the ice, and it was a mess. So didn't get to do anything fun, but it was good to hanging out and just hanging with the family, eating, and a bunch of sweets and movies, and it was a great few days up there. We had a good time. And yeah, kind of back to enjoying it and relaxing a little bit. Not as crazy busy, but spring's coming, and with that comes the RV industry getting nuts, and I'll be back to it. Hopefully it gets nuts. The interest rates and recession have really killed it. I usually wait to, December's and January and February are winter months. Every year we go, oh God, was it this bad last year? Yeah, it's always that bad. But this year, as usual, felt worse. But as soon as we came back from January 1st, when I got back to work, the phones were ringing. It was nuts. So hopefully there's some pent-up demand and things will be good. SGMO has Golden Tiger again. No kidding. Wow. I got to put the video up from the 2A EDU shoot, man. I love my Golden Tiger. Problem is, that's what I stockpile, so I never shoot it. I brought a case of Wolf by him for that. We shot that case. We put 2,000 rounds through that Palmetto State that day. Handled it like a champ. But yeah, so it was a ton of fun, man. Good holiday. I hope you guys had a good holiday. I'll get you a little video on our little North Pole Wonderland we have going on here tomorrow. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get a gun video in when it warms up a little. Or maybe we'll do a winter sniper video, huh? Crawling through the snow. I don't have any white camo, though. Anyhow, wrap myself in a sheet. And with a little black marker here and there, huh? But start getting you guys some videos and getting out there. It feels so good to do this live stream tonight. Every week I say, I'll get it next week. I'll do it next. And then something would come up, and we just had so much going on, and we were both completely stressed out. And I think with the holidays too, I think I was, just bad time of year for the losses we sustained the last few years. So holidays are sometimes it's a bummer, But yeah, it's things are a lot better. So got some good neighbors, good people helping out. I'm getting excited for it, and for the house. And I can't wait for spring now, a little turkey hunting. Oh man, quick story, then I'm going to let you guys go. They took the forms off the foundation, and me and my wife just ran to town. It was the first night it snowed like 2 days ago. We got about, it said 11 inches, but I think it was more like 8. We ran just into town to grab some Chinese food and see what the Chinese restaurant was like in town. So as we're coming back up the drive, we get all the way to the back, and her headlights are shining right on the foundation. And I had not had a chance in the daylight to look at the foundation with the forms off. And with the forms on, even, and when they dug it, I went, holy cow, this thing is monstrous. I mean, it is. It's friggin', it's big. But it always looks big because you got the garages look so big and everything. The garages look bigger than the house. But that's a good thing, right? But so lights are shining on. I said, I'm going to get out. I just want to walk around and see if he finished the backfilling. So I get to the front left corner of the house, and looks fine. I go to the back left corner, and it looks fine. And they sculpted the back of the land too for the walkout going down the hill. That's all done. And I walk down there, and it's snow on top of mud, right? I get to the back right corner, and I'm going to walk back to the front. And you got to understand, we are way out and way back from the road and nobody around. You can hear a pin drop in the woods here. It's crazy. Pitch black. Can't see her hand in front of the face, except I got a little bit of her lights because now she's way off to the right. And all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Like friggin' Bigfoot's coming through the trees. I mean, my heart comes out of my chest. I mean, I could feel like electric shock. It was so, I wasn't expecting anything, like even a deer, if it jumped, is no big deal. This was nuts. And if it wasn't for the fact that when it happened, I looked straight up and happened to look right where it was, I probably would have freaked out. But I looked up, and here comes a turkey down from its roost, lands 10 feet in front of me. You guys know how loud that is because they fly like shit anyways, and they're flapping and breaking branches. It's dark. I'm like, oh my God. And now he's running back up toward my drive. I want my wife to see it, so I run around the back. By the time I get to the car, the cold air, I can't breathe. I'm like having an asthma attack. Like, hey. I felt like an idiot, but yeah, damn. I'm surprised like 15, 20 of them didn't come flying down, because usually they're all roosted kind of together, but they must have been just enough further back. I didn't bother them. This one must have been right out by me and saw me, and I thought Sasquatch was coming through the trees. It was nuts. Anyhow, that's what I got to see of my foundation. So, yeah, I wish we weren't blowing this week. I wish we were moving ahead, because we'd be framed and we'd be 2 weeks away from being closed up right now. So it'll get there. I hauled 1,000-gallon LP tank back from Indiana, right down where all the I went down for motorhome training, and picked it up from an Amish place there that takes old tanks and redoes them, sandblasts them, everything. Got it for half price, so instead of $5,000, like $3,000, whatever. And I hauled it on a little utility trailer coming back. 1 lane, construction. I feel something weird. I look in the mirror, my tire's doing this. There's no shoulder. There's cones and semi-trucks everywhere. I'm like, and 9 miles to the next exit. So I got past the bridge abutment, put that wheel in the dirt, and drove 9 miles on the side of the highway where I was getting off, and it said there was a Tractor Supply. I knew I could get a spare there. I got 1.5 miles to go down to Tractor Supply. I'm going on the side, in town now, and I look in this bank parking lot. There's a cop. I'm like, oh, God. Sure enough, he pulls me over. You can't be driving like that. I'm like, dude, I'm going there. I can see the sign. Nope. Drop the trailer in the bank parking lot here. I'll stay and watch. Go get your stuff. Well, by the time I get back, he's gone. Jack it all up. I had to buy a jack, lug wrench, tire, wheel, all this shit. I go, it's one of these cheap whatever trailers that doesn't have the lug pattern every other friggin' utility trailer on the planet has. It's got some whacked out one. Won't fit. I call everywhere. Now it's late. Everything's closed. I let the diesel F-250. I just reclined the seat and went to sleep. Woke up at 7 in the morning, ran to Valparaiso, got a tire and wheel, got it on, drove straight to work and worked all day. So it's been an adventure. I got a 1,000-gallon tank because this is just something you guys might want to consider if you're going to be on propane. Nobody wants to say, you can't find tanks right now. You cannot find propane tanks. You can find little ones, grill tanks, 30-pounders. Nobody, even if they have them, will sell you a 500-pound tank and certainly not a 1,000-pound tank. They will not sell them to you. They could have a lot of them, filled up an entire lot of 500-pounders, 1,000-pounders, won't sell them to you. They want to lease them to you, number one, which is bullshit because then you're tied into one propane distributor. Let's say another one's got a lower price, you can't go to them. I knew a family that they dropped propane for them, and I don't know if he lost a job or something. They came and yanked his propane tank. I'm like, first of all, I want to be able to shop the price. Second of all, I don't want to lease it. Third of all, they're putting, I don't know if they're satellite. I think they're satellite readers on the tank. They can tell how much is left in your tank and how much you've used and all of that. It's enough that they know how much they dropped. They don't need to know how much I'm using. Why would they need to know that? Yeah, delivery schedule. Great. You don't need to know that. I'll call you when I need it, right? That's how it's always worked. You don't need to know how much I'm using. It's only one reason they want to know that information, right? No, Mr. Rock, sorry, you used, 200 gallons more than your average neighbor. Nope, that's going to go against your carbon credits. And yeah, sorry, you're going to have to keep that heat down this winter to 52. No, not happening. Not happening. I bought my tank. It was a lot of money. I bought 1,000-gallon. Is it overkill? Yes. I have 1,000-gallon tank at my dealership to supply propane to all my customers. Got 1,000 at the house. I want to be able to run my furnace for 2 years minimum, maybe 3, without re-upping. Because I want to be able to keep my house warm, and I want to be able to run my whole house generator if I need it. And then I'm going to put a 500-pounder out at the house. And then we're going to put solar. And I'm going to put a second wellhead in with a pump and solar backup to pump that if need be. There's a really cool company out there that I found. I'll get you guys a video on it. So much you can do today with technology. I'm not that solar guy. I'm not about that. But solar right now is completely viable. And for the same money they charged me to run my electric back, I could have bought a system that would run my entire house, including twin air conditioners, for the same money they charged me to trench and drop the wire. And I should have done it. I should have done it. The battery's got 20-year warranties. I won't be around in 20 years. Or whatever. You buy new batteries. Yeah, they're expensive. By then they'll be cheap. I should have done it. I would be 100% off grid. I still might do it. I might save my money and put a system in. And then cut the wire. Get your goddamn meter off my property. I don't want it anymore. I'm done. I'm done. They don't need to know anything. Just leave me alone. That's all. Don't want any problems. Just leave me. It's one thing you learn about living rural. You charge me all these taxes for what? I don't use your services. I don't use your police because if I call them, the minimum it would be is 20 minutes to get here. Whatever it is over and done with. Your fire? By the time you get out here with your pumper truck, my house is falling into the foundation already. Garbage? I have to pay for it anyways. I don't get that free. Water? I got my own. Sanitation? I got my own. You do nothing for me. Absolutely zero. Yeah, roads, this and that. Great. I buy gasoline that's got half of it is tax anyways. I'm paying you property tax. Why? I get it. I'm not one of those guys. I don't have to pay tax. No, it's not like that. I don't need your services. So why bother? Oh my God. I thought that was the cat. That's wind and snow. Oh my God. You hear that? You hear that? Wow. I'll bet you. Well, with that, wish me luck. Nanook of the North signing out. And yeah, hope it's going to look like Ice Station Zebra. That's what it looks like now. But yeah, everything's good, man. I couldn't be happier. I like this whole idea of being off-grid and independent. And makes you feel good that well, shouldn't say it. They can always do something to you, right? Whatever. Stand up for your beliefs, guys. Stand up for your country. Make them hold their end of the bargain. And it's time we stand up for the sovereignty of the nation and our borders and keep our people safe. When something happens, who's going to be there to protect you and your family and your things? You have to be. I'm a common sense guy. None of this makes any common sense. Well, it does, but it ain't what they're saying. I would get your stuff in order, keep it in order, and have it ready to go at a moment's notice. And handguns aren't for protection. They're only for fighting your way to your rifle. So take care of biz, be ready, put a few things away that you might need. Never hurts to be ready. I love people that say, what do you got all this stuff for? You paranoid? I'm not paranoid. Not much to be scared of when you got all the stuff I got, and you got, and they got. When you're prepared, you're not paranoid. You're comfortable. Gives you peace of mind. That's all. All righty. Stay warm. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for putting up with my little hiatus there. And hope you had just as good a holiday as me. And I hope whatever you're doing in your life right now, you're enjoying it. God bless you. God bless this country. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out. And Ross, thank you especially. Appreciate it. Gotta go get me a Z-Pap underfolder. Night.